Deep within the heart of India, where the sunlight filters through ancient trees like liquid gold, lies the Whispering Woods. This is not an ordinary jungle. The air here hums with a quiet magic, and the streams sing old songs only the forest creatures understand. In this enchanted place lived a very special cobra named Sarpan. He was no common snake. His scales were not brown or black, but shimmered with the brilliance of pure, polished gold. When he moved through the dappled light of the forest floor, he looked like a river of sunshine flowing through the green shadows, a truly magnificent sight to behold. Sarpan was the guardian of the woods. He was born from the first ray of dawn that touched the forest floor 1,000 years ago, and he could speak the language of humans, though he rarely chose to. His voice was soft, like the rustling of leaves in a gentle breeze. He possessed a unique magic, a power that was tied directly to the health and vitality of the jungle. If a great banyan tree grew sick, Sarpan would coil around its roots and whisper ancient words, and soon new leaves would sprout. If a stream began to dry, a touch of his golden tail would make the water flow clear and strong once more. He was the protector, the friend, and the very soul of the Whispering Woods. At the very center of the jungle, hidden within a cave behind a waterfall, lay his greatest charge, the Heartstone. This was not a mere jewel. It was a crystal that pulsed with a soft, warm light, containing the life force of the entire forest. The Heartstone was the source of all the magic, the reason the flowers bloomed so brightly and the animals lived in peace. Sarpan's duty, given to him by the spirit of the jungle itself, was to protect this treasure from any who would seek to misuse its immense power. He spent his days watching over it, his golden form a silent, vigilant sentinel in the cool, damp dark of the cave. His only confidant was the Moon Priestess, an old, wise woman who lived in a small temple at the edge of the woods. She would visit him on full moon nights, bringing offerings of milk and honey. They would speak for hours, sharing news of the world outside and the secrets of the forest within. The priestess often told Sarpan stories of courage and sacrifice, reminding him of the importance of his sacred duty. Their bond was one of deep respect and friendship, a connection between the human world and the ancient magic that Sarpan guarded so fiercely, a quiet understanding under the silvery moonlight. But peace, like a quiet pool, can be disturbed by a single stone. A shadow began to fall over the Whispering Woods, a darkness that crept in from the barren lands to the north. This darkness had a name, Varkal. He was a sorcerer whose heart was as cold and barren as the lands he came from. He craved power above all else, and his dark arts were fed by consuming the life force of living things. Varkal had learned of the Heartstone through ancient forbidden texts, and he desired its limitless energy to make himself immortal and plunge the world into an age of unending night. His presence was a blight upon the land. Varkal's journey towards the woods was marked by decay. The vibrant green lands he crossed turned brown and gray in his wake. The birds fell silent and the animals fled from the chilling aura that surrounded him. He was not a man who walked quietly. He commanded foul beasts made of shadow and smoke, creatures that hissed and slithered, leaving trails of corruption wherever they went. Sarpan sensed this approaching evil long before Varkal reached the forest's edge. The leaves of the trees began to curl and wither, and the water in the streams grew cloudy and sluggish. A deep sadness settled over the jungle, a premonition of the terrible struggle to come. The sorcerer's arrival was an assault on the senses. The air grew heavy and smelled of dust and decay. Varkal's laughter, a harsh and grating sound, echoed through the trees, scaring the monkeys into hiding and silencing the songbirds. He did not care for the beauty of the woods. He saw it only as a shell protecting the prize he sought. "The Heartstone will be mine," he snarled, his voice dripping with malice. "This world of green and light will be extinguished, and in its place my darkness will reign supreme." The very flowers seemed to droop their heads in despair as his evil words washed over the tranquil sanctuary. Sarpan knew he could not face this threat alone. Varkal's magic was strong, fueled by hatred and greed, a stark and brutal contrast to Sarpan's own life-giving powers. The golden cobra felt the fear of the forest, a tremor that ran through the roots of every tree and the heart of every creature. He left the safety of the Heartstone's cave, knowing that the time for quiet guardianship was over. The time for battle was drawing near. He needed help, an ally who possessed the courage of a lion and a heart pure enough to stand against the encroaching darkness. His journey into the unknown had begun. Sarpan's quest for an ally led him beyond the familiar borders of his jungle home. He traveled towards the nearby kingdom, a place he had only heard about in whispers from the Moon Priestess. It was there he found Princess Arya. She was not a typical princess who spent her days in the palace. Arya was known for her bravery and her deep love for the natural world. She was often found riding her horse through the fields, her spirit as free and untamed as the wind. When Sarpan appeared before her, his golden scales glowing in the twilight, she did not scream or run. Instead, she saw the wisdom and urgency in his intelligent eyes. "The heart of my home is dying," Sarpan said, his voice a soft hiss that carried the weight of his burden. He told her of the whispering woods, of the magical Heartstone, and of the evil sorcerer Varkal who sought to claim it. Arya listened, her heart aching for the beautiful forest she had admired from her kingdom. She had noticed the creeping blight on the horizon and had felt a growing unease. Looking at the magnificent Cobra, she knew this was a call to action she could not ignore. "I will help you," she declared, her voice firm and clear. "No sorcerer will destroy such a place of wonder. We will protect it together." Their journey back to the heart of the jungle was filled with peril. Varkal, sensing their alliance, sent his shadow beasts to stop them. Monstrous creatures made of twisted roots and dark smoke rose from the ground to block their path. But Arya was a skilled warrior, her sword a flash of silver in the gloom, and Sarpan was a powerful guardian. He used his magic to weave illusions, confusing the beasts, and his golden form moved with lightning speed, striking with precision when needed. Together they were a formidable team, their courage and magic a beacon of light against the encroaching shadows. Through their shared struggle, a deep bond formed between the princess and the Cobra. Arya learned to understand the silent language of the forest through Sarpan, and he saw the strength and kindness of humanity through her. She was amazed by his gentle magic, how he could coax a wounded bird back to health with a soft touch. He, in turn, was impressed by her unwavering resolve and her compassion for all living things. They were not just allies fighting a common enemy. They had become true friends, united by their shared love for the world and their determination to protect it from the encroaching darkness. They reached the cave of the Heartstone just as Varkal finally broke through the forest's last defenses. The sorcerer stood before the glowing crystal, his face alight with greedy triumph. The air in the cave was thick with his dark energy, and the Heartstone's gentle pulse was weakening, flickering like a dying candle. "Fools!" Varkal sneered as Sarpan and Arya entered. "You're too late. The power of this world will soon be mine." A great battle began, a clash of light against darkness within the sacred cavern. Arya's sword sang as it met Varkal's staff, while Sarpan lunged and coiled, defending the stone with every ounce of his being. The fight was long and desperate. Varkal was immensely powerful, his dark magic deflecting Arya's attacks and pushing Sarpan back. The sorcerer unleashed bolts of pure shadow, causing the cave walls to tremble and crack. The Heartstone dimmed further, and the entire jungle outside groaned in pain. Sarpan knew that as long as Varkal lived, the Heartstone and the world would never be safe. He saw Arya stumble, exhausted, and knew a terrible choice had to be made. A great sacrifice was needed to end this threat once and for all. He looked at the weakening Heartstone and then at his friend, the brave princess. With a final loving glance at Arya, Sarpan made his move. He lunged not at Varkal but at the Heartstone itself. He coiled his golden body around the pulsing crystal, pouring all of his own life force, his ancient magic, and his very spirit into it. An incredible burst of pure white light erupted from the stone, blinding and powerful. Sarpan's golden scales dissolved into motes of light, and this energy enveloped the screaming sorcerer. Varkal could not escape. The magic of the jungle, amplified by Sarpan's selfless act, trapped him, turning him into a lifeless stone statue, his face frozen in a silent scream forever. The light slowly faded, leaving behind a peaceful silence. Varkal was gone, imprisoned in stone. Princess Arya stood alone, tears streaming down her face, in a cave now empty of her golden friend. The Heartstone pulsed with a strong, steady rhythm once more, its light brighter than ever, and outside the jungle began to heal. Sarpan was gone, but his sacrifice had saved everything he loved. A legend was born that day. They say the spirit of the golden cobra merged with the Heartstone, and that he still guards the Whispering Woods. And if a great darkness ever threatens the land again, the Golden Guardian will return.